treat people the same based on their religious beliefs or based upon whatever they were raised as or whatever. And the name of the pizzeria, what is the name of the pizzeria? Memories Pizza in Indiana. They said they will not cater any gay weddings. And even though no gay couples ever asked them to, excuse me, sorry. And that's what's funny too, is because the people who, how many gay people do you think really want a gay wedding catered by a pizzeria? Not a lesbian, not a gay guy. It's just not going to happen. But it's the point of the matter, and the point is that they are, homophobic. And is it right, really, for them to actually have? No, I don't think so, Angela. Is it really right for them to have any sort of restrictions placed upon them? Should they have to be forced to cater gay weddings? No, I don't think they should. And that's one thing, maybe surprising to people, that I don't agree that places should be forced to cater a gay wedding. I don't think they should be forced to cater a black wedding or a white wedding or a Hispanic wedding. Whatever. It's a private business, and they have a choice to turn away people if they want to. Now, if it's systematic, obviously, in a governmental law, that's a different thing. Governmentally, you can't go around saying you can and cannot cater to people based on, sexual orientation or race or religion or whatever. And that's what's wrong with Indiana's law. But unfortunately, I do think that it's not okay to tell a private institution or private business what they can and cannot do, who they cannot cater to. Like, for example, if I had a catering business, I would not want to cater a right-winged Republican KKK meeting, and I would choose not to do that. Is that wrong? Maybe in their eyes, but I don't think I should have to do it if I don't want to. Now, I think it's different if you go out of your way to say, we're not going to cater to gay people. That's different than just not doing it and saying, sorry, we don't want to, we can't take your business or whatever, or we're booked or whatever. They can make an excuse or whatever. But to say it specifically for that reason, of course, is bigoted and wrong, in my opinion. So I'm not sure, are we going to force people to actually cater to people that they don't agree with? I don't like that. And I also don't like the fact that people don't want to cater to people based on, their sexual orientation or their religion or their race or whatever either. So it is very difficult to actually say, oh, well, let's make all of these people cater to people that hate. Why would you want them to anyway? Whenever I was having my wedding, or my wedding reception here in Dallas, we flew to Connecticut to get married in 2009. And, we had to get our cake here and all that sorts of thing here in Dallas, of course. And so, if I had gone to a place that thought gay people were wrong or evil or gross or whatever, and I had known that, I would not have patronized that establishment. Why would I want to? And so I understand it's a slippery slope, because you can't say, okay, you can only cater to people you want to cater to, because then you run into the problem of course, discrimination, which is what this is. But you also can't necessarily tell them you have to cater to people whether you want to or not, because they have the right of free speech. So it's a very difficult question for me personally, because I am obviously a highly liberal individual who believes in the rights of people, and I certainly do not want to curtail anyone's rights to say what they want, whether I agree with it or not, whether I think they're abhorrent or not, whether I think they're disgusting pigs or not. I think that everyone has the right to say what they want to say, but there are consequences to your actions, and this is what you're seeing here with this issue. Yes, I guess the bottom line is this: is that they can say, no, we do not want to cater to gay people, but the consequences of their actions are what? Are they boycotted? No, they get $840,000 in donations. These people probably don't have to ever work again, most likely, if they don't want to, if they save the money right? So I don't know. That to me, it just tells you all the fucking hatred there is in the world, and especially in the United States, especially in the Midwest, especially in this country. And whatever. I mean, just as many donations that come in whom are who are for denying gay people equality, there can be just as many gay people who can do the same thing. So as far as I'm concerned, the pizzeria can fuck off. I don't give a fuck what they think. And it's really completely irrelevant to me personally. Believe it or not, I do believe that. So, what else was I going to say here? Let me see here. So I think that the next thing I want to talk about is The Imitation Game. The Imitation Game is a movie that is with Benedict Cumberbatch or whatever. And actually, I watched a movie. I talked about it on my show called Codebreaker. About 6 months ago on my show, I talked about it, I think. And I watched a documentary. It was actually a film, independent film or whatever. And it was actually a really good show. And what it's about is a gay guy, a true story about essentially the reason we won the war is because of a gay man. I mean, this is not an exaggeration. This is the truth. This is a fact. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of homophobes are going to hate the fact that that's true and going to try to fight the fact that it's true. But it's very true. It is a fact that was in this movie, Codebreaker. It's a documentary or whatever. Anyway, this movie, The Imitation Game, was based on the same thing. And it's about Alan Turing is his name. And he was a man in England, and he was an aristocrat, whatever. And he went to Oxford, all that kind of shit. Very, very intelligent man. And he was all into code breaking and stuff like that, and mathematician and all this kind of shit. Anyway, the MI6, which is like the English equivalent of the CIA here in the United States, they actually went after him and said, we want you to break the code of Enigma, which Enigma was the deciphering instrument that the Nazis used in World War II to, or I should say, encrypt their messages that were passed through, like, you know, telegraphs and stuff like that. And so they couldn't figure out how to break it. No one could figure it out. So anyway, this guy figures it out, and he wins the war essentially for the world, and no one knows about it because it's kept under lock and key for 50 years after his death because he was gay. He was a homosexual. And at the time, being a homosexual in England was against the law. And because it was against the law, they didn't want this person who was a war hero to be actually, what's the word I'm looking for? To be actually, you know, I don't know the word I'm looking for here. To be actually, I can't think of the word I'm looking for. To be revered is the word I'm looking for. Essentially, they did not want them to be revered. They wanted to be sure. They wanted to be sure that gays stayed behind the curtain and were not viewed or seen or in any way as being equivalent to everyone else in the world. They wanted to make sure that gays were somehow, seen as less than, and keep gays, down. It's just the way that the same thing that happened to get to black people. There's tons of things black people invented in this country and in the world, and things that they have done and that they have never been given a lot of credit for. Same for women as well. I mean, when you live in a predominantly white society, patriarchal society, white heterosexual men are threatened by people who are a different race, a different sex, or a different sexual orientation. So those three things are always, unfortunately, the things that people are always trying to, unfortunately, call people out on. Anyway, so that movie is really good. You should definitely watch it. It's called The Imitation Game. And if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth a watch. It's really good. And it won an Oscar or something. Anyway, what else is on my list tonight? So, Going Clear. I watched the show called Going Clear. Now, you all know how I feel about religion and how much I hate and despise it. Religion, unfortunately, is a necessary evil. I think it's an unnecessary evil, but it's something you can't escape in this day and age here in America, especially in the South. And religion, some people are religious, and that's fine. They can be religious if they choose to be. But as you know, I'm not. And this is one of the reasons I'm not. I mean, this is a perfect example of a cult. And I think all religions basically are cults. I mean, essentially they are that. People who are in those religions would never call their own religion a cult, but basically that's what they are. And when I watched this documentary about Scientology called Going Clear, I think it was last week or the week before, on HBO. I'd known some things about Scientology. I knew their basic belief system, which basically, if you don't know what the basic belief system is, Scientology was started by L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard was a novelist, and he was a prolific novelist. He wrote tons of novels and like pulp fiction and things like that, and scientific fiction, science fiction for various publishers or whatever. Anyway, in like the 50s or whatever. And he decided he wasn't making enough money. And so he realized the one way he could make a lot of money was to be a cult, to start a cult, or to start a religion, as he called it. And by doing that, he would have no taxes on his money. And he would be able to keep all the money he wanted and spend it how he chose. And so he took some parts of books he had written previously, several parts of the books he'd written previously. He'd taken those parts and he had made them into essentially a religion called Scientology. And in Scientology, what he believed is, or what he taught or preached or whatever, was what? He taught, well, there were these aliens that dropped all of these people on the planet Earth, the souls on the planet Earth, from another planet, and they dropped into the volcanoes, and those people's souls came out of the volcanoes, and they're called Thetans. And then when we were born, we all were inhabited by Thetans at the moment of birth. And our entire lives we're trying to get rid of these aliens from our body, or these Thetans from our body, which made us all crazy and weird. And so that's what the basic tenet of Scientology is, and that's what it believes. It also believes you have to go clear, which is to get rid of all the Thetans. In order to do that, you have to go through all of these various stages of ascension, or something like you could call it ascension, in their program. And it costs over $250,000 to get from the very beginning of Scientology to the very top, where they reveal the secret of Scientology, which is about the volcano and all that bullshit. At the beginning of it, it's all about how to rid yourself of old imprints and things that happened to you as a child, and how to, get rid of these psychological barriers you have, and things that make sense to some degree to people, and that's why they're enamored by it initially. But as you move forward and move into it, it becomes more and more restrictive, and they will not allow you to have outside influences, that you're not allowed to read the internet, anything about Scientology, or read papers or articles or TV shows or anything about Scientology. And some people they even kept captive, literally, in the Scientology building for years, where they had to do hard labor, and just fucking crazy shit. Okay, I can't even go into all of it, but it was fucking nuts. And then, of course, Tom Cruise is like their number one, Scientologist, and so is John Travolta. And one of the things they do is they do an intake of whatever it's called, auditing. And in auditing, what they do is they make you tell them all of your darkest, deepest secrets, the things that you wouldn't want anyone else in the world to ever know. And as a result of that, they take those and they try to use them against you. And they try to use them against you and blackmail you. Say, basically, if you ever leave the church, or if you ever talk bad about Scientology, we will use this against you and put it out in the press if you're famous or something, or put it out to your family, etc. They've even threatened people. They've harassed people. They stalk people. These people are fucking crazy. So it's basically the worst nightmare of someone who doesn't want to be in a religion. Scientology is not the one to be part of. But it just drove home for me, Scientology doesn't even like gay people either. Of all the crazy religions out there, even the kookiest, stupidest one doesn't believe in gay people being gay or whatever. It thinks being gay is wrong. And that's probably one reason John Travolta has stayed, because they've used against him all of his his gay past. Maybe Tom Cruise as well. Who knows? Regardless, that's one of the things they talked about too, was that they actually were the reason that Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman broke up. They broke up because the church broke them up, because her father was a psychologist, And Scientologists don't believe in psychologists because they make sense, and she was taking him away from Scientology essentially. So they essentially broke them up, and then set him up with a new girlfriend, a fake girlfriend, for publicity. Anyway, so religion, of course, is always an issue for me, and when it comes to being gay and religion, and Scientology is no different. So I can't really think of one religion that really says, oh, we love all gay people are great. I mean, I've